Hi everyone, Kelly here, and today I want to do a dedicated book review about The Other People by C.J. Tudor. And this is a thriller that just came out on January 28th. I did get a e-arc of this given to me by NetGalley, so I say thank you to NetGalley and Random House Publishing Group for letting me read it ahead of time. And it just took me a couple weeks to kind of wrap together my thoughts to do this review. And since this is a thriller, I don't want to give away any secrets because that's part of what makes the thriller exciting. So this will probably be kind of a short review, but here are my thoughts about the book. Overall, I really loved it and I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it even more than The Chalkman that I read by C.J. Tudor a few months ago. And so I'm just gonna go through a really quick synopsis and then talk about my pros and my cons for the book. So the synopsis is hard to do because this is told from several different perspectives. Our main perspective that we're following is a man named Gabe who a few years ago, he was driving on the highway and he thinks he saw his daughter in the car in front of him, and nobody believes him because everybody says his daughter is dead. And so he just spends all of his time in the last 3 years since that happened just driving up and down the highway looking for that car, looking for his daughter, because he doesn't know, he knows that he saw her and nobody else believes him. And then we also hear from a woman named Katie who works at one of the rest stops that's along the highway. So she often runs into Gabe as just waitress customer kind of relationship. And then we are hearing from a woman named Fran who has a girl with her named Alice, and they are also traveling up in this highway, but they're running from something that we don't know about in the beginning of the book. So those are the 3 main perspectives that we're hearing from. There's also this kind of interlude sometimes in between the different perspectives that we hear about that is kind of an anonymous factor. We don't really know what those interludes are about, but they seem to hold some kind of supernatural quality to them. And so now I just want to talk about the things I liked about this book and the things I didn't like. I'm going to start off talking about the positive because I do have a lot of positive feelings about this book and just basically one minor thing I didn't like. And in terms of the positive thing, the main thing that I thought was so great about this book is that it's just fast-paced and fun and entertaining to read. And so even though it's told from several perspectives and a lot of times you have no clue what's going on, I didn't really know what was happening at all until halfway through the book, it was quick enough and stuff was constantly happening that anytime I started to be kind of losing interest, she would pull something else to draw me in. And so that's kind of my second positive, is that the way that C.J. Tudor plotted this book out was, I thought, really clever. Sometimes when you have multiple perspectives, it can be kind of confusing to pull all of the links together, and also kind of, you're on one person's perspective and you kind of forget what happens with the other person, or you just kind of lose interest in the other threads. But I thought that it was really cleverly plotted out that as soon as we started to maybe start to question or be confused or lose interest in a perspective, the author would throw in some new information. So the way she plotted it, giving out the information at the right times so that we would still have that suspense and anticipation, but there wouldn't be an overwhelming confusion or lack of interest. So I felt interested throughout the whole book. It was one of those that I probably could have sat down and read all in one sitting if I had had time, because I just really wanted to know what was happening. And then once we started to get some answers, I just wanted to have it all concluded and figure it out. So I just think that this was really fast-paced, entertaining, and well plotted. Those are my positives. And then I really only have one negative, and that's why I gave it a very high 4 stars, very solid 4 stars. My only thing that brought it down just a little bit is I didn't really like the way the supernatural aspect was weaved into the book. I just didn't think it necessarily worked for me. I think some people really like that little thing. I feel like C.J. Tudor has really an influence from Stephen King. I felt in The Chalkman you could really tell the influence from Stephen King. And so I don't know, maybe she just wanted to put that little supernatural in as almost kind of an homage to Stephen King. I don't know, but that's kind of how it felt to me. It just didn't really feel rooted in this story for me. And so the supernatural part, especially the way that storyline ended up, I just didn't really find satisfying. So that was just my little negative thing that brought it down a little bit for me, but I still really enjoyed this read overall. The other thing that's related to that is that I didn't really love the ending. Sorry, my cat just went for a bug. I didn't really love the way the book completely ended, and really, if I had read this book before The Chalk Man, I probably wouldn't even have that as a negative at all, because I think it was a fine ending. But I think that if you've read The Chalk Man, she ended it in such like a spectacular way that still haunts me and like stuck with me, that I kind of expected that in this book. And so I just was a little disappointed that the end didn't really like give me that like lasting reaction or anything like that. But it really is a fine ending. It just was, I had higher expectations of a like kind of disturbing ending after reading The Chalk Man. So those are my thoughts. Like I said, this was a really quick one because you don't want to know too much in the thriller. I would highly recommend it. I think that like, I've only read 2 of her books. I know there's one more, which I will get to at some point. But I do think from reading those 2 that even though I haven't like rated either of them 5 stars, I think she is doing something unique and clever in thrillers, and I would like to continue reading everything she's writing in the future, because she's only going to get better, I hope, and come up with more clever plots. And I just think that's necessary with all the like domestic thrillers and stuff that are coming out that feel very similar to each other, or the unreliable narrators. There's all this like, you know, kind of trends in thrillers lately, and I feel like hers are in a whole different category and are unique unto themselves. So I would highly recommend checking out her work. And that's all for me today. If you would like to talk, if you've read the book and would like to talk in spoilers, down in the comment section, since this is a spoiler-free review, make sure to tag anything as a spoiler before you talk in the comments. But I would talk spoilers with you, that's fine. I just want to make sure you announce it to everybody that's going to be a spoiler, so that nobody else gets spoiled for this book, because I hope you all go out and read it. Thanks, bye.